All right.
I see you.
Yep.
Don't see anything different.
There we go. I'm live.
Okay.
Hello.
Not yet.
I can see the Zoom box, and I can see.
I've got the chat box on the side there.
I can see your computer background. I can see some folders on your computer.
Right. So what if I go like that? And what if I go like, wait. What if I go like that?
But make the Zoom thing cover the rest of the screen on the right.
I did. Wait about 10 seconds.
Okay. Yeah, I could live with that.
You can live with that?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, I'm hanging up on you.
Okay.
Can you comment? Can you comment?
I can. 1 second.
I just want to see what pops up.
Are we live right now?
We are. Kimberly, I got
that. This is great. We need like a youngster to get this all going.
Yeah.
Can you hear us through
That's
Facebook?
Kimberly.
Yeah, I hear you through both right now, so I'm going to hang up the phone and go do the post for Brett.
All right, peace out. Thank you. Love you. Bye. What's up? All right, we got it going on.
We're ready.
We're gonna give everybody a minute or two to chime in.
Yeah.
We got Kim Kidner in the house.
Kim Kidner.
Yeah.
So you can see the scroll because I can't see that.
I got the scroll.
Okay.
You can't, but I can.
What kind of scrolls? Are these like the ones from back in Israel time?
The Dead Sea Scrolls? That's terrible.
Wow, you go in ancient times.
Ancient
times.
times.
The scrolls from Facebook is world.
Jason Balthaser in the house. Yeah, I got it going on. Dana Markson is in the house.
Familiar name. Sure.
Listen, you got to boost your numbers, people. I got Aunt Sally is coming on.
Wait. Do you remember when we first opened up and we saw 100 visits a week and all 99 were my mom? That's what you want to do again.
Desperate times, man. You got people wearing masks. I count the mailman.
Now you just charge. You just charge your mom.
Right.
This is like a play for you, a performance. Like all your family coming to see your.
That's right. You know.
Like at junior high.
Rachel Northern in the house. Hi, Rach.
Rachel.
Can you hear them? Like I don't hear anybody.
There's no hearing anybody. I'm just seeing they're typing to us.
Like, no worries.
So by the way, before we get started,
I get it.
If anybody is on and you do have questions, obviously just type to us in the comment box. I'll read them out to the guys and we'll make sure to answer anything for you. Since Dan Klein and I were roommates. Hi, Willie. How you doing, buddy? Since Dan Klein and I were roommates, I could tell you it is boxers, not briefs. If that's the first question.
Okay.
Tough room. You guys are really in a great mood.
Way to start it off.
Okay.
Who asked that question?
It was a joke. Just jokes. All right. So we'll give it one more minute. We'll get started.
My first sacrum adjustment to Rick was whatever we learned, and then the next day he called me in his room because he couldn't get out of bed because he couldn't feel his legs. and all he did was laugh. It's a true story.
I had to.
Can you adjust my other side?
I had to belly crawl to his room. Like I can't feel my legs.
Yeah.
I've been adjusted since I'm born. Don't worry about it, bro.
Yeah, you're fine.
All right, so we'll get started just in the interest of time. But as you can see, I've got Brett and I from Chiro Destiny and Dr. Dan Klein, who's one of the partners at Everest Coaching Systems. As I was saying before, Dan and I were roommates all through Life College. Well, back then it was Life College, now Life University. So thanks, Dan, for coming on. You have the finger on the pulse of what's happening with a lot of chiropractors. You're in practice as well. Brett and I are still both in practice. A couple of weeks ago, we had Dana on and, just talking about sort of the radical acceptance of what's going on. And from a social work standpoint and a therapy standpoint, some of the mindfulness techniques to be able to handle the stress and handle what's going on. And then last week, Larry came on and, did the Larry thing, sort of the, what's in your head? What do you do about it? How do you take action, and how do you use the right now time frame to stay positive, stay focused, and, get through this kind of thing. And since we ran out of family members, I wanted to dig deep and say, look, we know each other so well, and we've shared stages together, so we wanted to have a little interactive to see if we could help chiropractors. So we'll start with you just as an opening. You're in practice, and you speak to a lot of the Everest members as well. What are you hearing? What's going on? How are you doing in practice? What's been your sort of focus over the last couple of weeks?
Well, first, thanks for having me. I do still think we're family, even if you
I was just joking.
Give a little. All right. Well, I mean, it's definitely, I think we should always start off with, is the world turned on right now, or is the world turned off? I mean, I would still say the world is still turned on. It's still functioning, and every state right now is a little bit different. I can really only speak about my state in light of all of this. Our state is still allowed to practice. And they're very clear on how we should practice, and I'm following it because it's mandated and it's the guidelines, and everyone's practice is going to be affected or is affected right now. So our rules are simple. It's emergency or urgent care, and they also make it very clear it could be acute care, as long as if the person did not come, it would be detrimental to the progress. So those are the three reasons. We have them sign when they come in, and we are still practicing. It's certainly different. It's certainly less. It's one or two at a time. And I think the best way to describe it is, as the patients are becoming more comfortable, then they're coming back. That's the way it is. And they're going to come back, and it's going to be happening again. But the whole key with everything is meeting the patient where they are, and that's what we're doing.
It's funny you should say that, because I'll chime in on this part. You said, I think a lot of chiropractors are in fear. Obviously, everyone's in fear, but specifically for chiropractors, not thinking their patients may not come back, because if we're going to be in this situation for months on end, which is not true, because in my experience, since I'm still practicing in New York, which is complete chaos, I've had every week patients have said, you know what, I missed a week, I missed 2 weeks, I got to get back in here. And they start coming back in. We have a discussion. We calm everything down. They're like, you know what? I'm going to just start up again, because I really do need this, for those who were scared to come in the first place. So I agree with you. I think everyone has to have some faith and just kind of have a clear mind.
Yeah. And I'm sure Larry got us all straight on that last week. But again, just slow me down or stop me if I'm kind of rolling on here. But the first thing, let me give everyone some docs here. The first thing we did, and we did this a couple of weeks ago, and don't worry, you're not behind if you haven't done this. But I personally, as well as the two team members that are left, because like a lot of other practices, I had to let our associate go. I still have one who's with me now, and I still have two and a half team members in there. But I personally called the top 60 patients that I know of. I've left them messages. It's not to get them in, it's just to tell them I'm thinking of them. I've had the team call them. I am writing them letters. And that was the first action step that we've done. And it's very important that you continue with the relationship that you have with them. They're going to come back. So all the docs out there, I don't know if it's easier watching a 25-year-old practice of your dreams go down, or maybe there's people that just opened a practice and now they're like, oh my goodness, this. I don't think it matters. We're all in this together. If your practice hasn't been affected yet, then I don't.
Everybody's practice.
Right.
I can't imagine. Right?
I don't care where you are. Everybody's practice.
Right.
And let me add too. No, this is not for judgment. I think that it's a safe place. It's really the only reason why I really would come speak or come share with Chiro Destiny, because I know it's safe. I am practicing with gloves. I am practicing with masks. The practicing with masks and gloves literally doubled my practice from the week before, because patients. That's what I just said. You have to meet the patients where they are in order to get them to go where you want them to go. And I will say that over and over and over. If a patient is scared, you have to be scared in a sense with them, just a little bit above that. If they're fine with it, then let them come in and you can, give them, about immunity in chiropractic. but it has to be where they are, and it can't be the same for everybody. So the first thing we did was we called every patient, and I'm still calling them. I'm calling them weekly. So here, let me give you an idea. So I don't know if you guys in the state that everyone's in, we have something with telehealth or telemedicine or however you want to do it. So whether you're charging a patient or billing the insurance company or just writing it off, whatever, but we're calling them. And now with those patients that we're calling to keep them active, if it is an insurance, or even if it's just a patient that's already paid, is when we're done going over with them things that they need to be doing at home, I'm letting them know this. This is exactly how I say it. When you're ready to come in, all right? So don't say, please come in or beg them or change it. It's when you're ready to come in, I just want to let you know, come back to the place where we're set up, give us a call. Let us know you're back there. We're bringing patients in one at a time. We're going to be wearing masks and gloves. The team has masks and gloves. You're going to have a Clorox wipe to carry with you, and we would just ask that we take your temperature, which all of this we're doing. Wash your hands when you come in, wash your hands when you leave. And it's opening up conversation, and it's usually ending with, oh, I didn't realize you're doing all of that. I said, well, when you're comfortable, let us know. And it usually ends with what? I mean, how do you think it ends? I'm comfortable.
Right.
And by the way, I can't feel my leg or I can't feel my arm. So, well, if it's getting that bad, then that would fit the criteria of you coming in. If they're still on wellness, we're not allowed to see that. So it's a good way to keep the practice busy, even if it's not busy in the practice right now. All right, so that's the first thing. Keep going. You want to just keep firing away?
I love it. I think you said a couple of brilliant things, and I want to just sort of anchor in the things you said, because when you said meet a patient where they are, that's globally. That's why you're so good at reported findings. That's why you're so good at getting people under care, of transitioning them from day 1 to day 2. All of those same things apply, and especially, what you're basically saying without saying it is people have emotions. This is a very emotionally charged situation. And what we see a lot of chiropractors doing is trying to use logic. Well, we're spraying the office. That should be enough for you. I'm wearing a mask. That should be enough. It's not. Because of the problem with the fear, if we don't get to them and connect with them and partner with them where they are, you can't get them past it to then ever be able to use logic.
Correct.
And I think the big thing what you said before was about calling patients. We're doing something similar. So the patients that have already told us, listen, I'm not coming until this thing is over. That was almost a month ago, right? We're doing what you're doing. Every day we're making calls to patients, again, letting them know, hey, we're just checking in, see how you're doing, and just seeing how you're feeling. Just want to let you know we're here when you're ready, blah, 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 blah. And even from doing that unintentionally, we've had people come back a day or two later, I got to get in here. Thanks for the reminder. I know this is important, blah, blah, blah. In New York, we are essential and we can see anybody. So they don't have to be emergency only. So more and more people are coming back in to say, you know what, you were right. I'm not feeling as good as I was now that I'm not getting adjusted. I need to get adjustments regularly to keep, so they can come in for wellness, their health and so forth.
Yeah, and you're going to
address that in a minute, by the way. That's
right.
Yeah, but you're going to get that as well. Patients saying, Doc, I don't know if I can hold out a week. I don't know, because as time's going by, as the thing is kind of setting down, the machine is going to be turned back on. You just have to be ready for it when it does. So let me jump. I'm not sure how much time we have, but let me let you know something I'm doing too when patients are coming. It's really hitting. You'll see where it's going. So when they come in, one of the things in Pennsylvania is we are essential as well, is they need a reason to be leaving their house. So the reason that they're leaving their house is they're coming to see you. So I'm giving them a business card. Now I happen to have an old-time laminator. You don't need the laminator, but I'm laminating the business card and I'm handing it to them. I haven't handed out business cards because everyone looks stuff up, So I'm handing out just dozens and dozens and dozens of business cards. That's energy, and letting them know you need to keep this with you. Well, why? Well, because if you get stopped, which they are stopping people right now in Philadelphia, which is we're on the outskirts a bit. But if you do get stopped, you need to let them know that you were here. Do not lose this business card. So now that it's been another 2 weeks later of doing this, patients are coming in and they're grabbing the business card first. Probably something I might have done 20 years ago. They're grabbing the business card to the point where now it's almost as thank you. And what I've been doing, piggybacking that, because you certainly have every right to do this, can you help me and do me a favor? Absolutely. What is it? And I also made up a Google review card. So I have that laminated. I'm handing them a card on how to go through Google and give us a review. It's not a big deal, but I'm saying to them, look, again, when this is turned on again, although I still think the world is turned on, but it's not, it's still happening. When it's turned back on again, I would love to be able to help as many people as I can again. And in one way that people are looking is Google reviews. So if you can leave a Google review, that'd be helpful. That's been fantastic. So again, just generating more flow, generating, some energy in the office, and they're appreciative. And now they're coming in saying, "Oh, did you see the review?" Of course, I have to quickly pull my phone. Yeah.
Wait 1 second.
Or you could get review wave and automate the whole thing.
You could, absolutely could, and we were just about to do that. That was.
So we've recommended it to all our people, and when people are using it, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's faster, it's automated. You don't even
no question about it. But this is a good way to ask them. I think Review Wave sends it out. But it's a good way to just connect with them and let them know that it's okay to ask patients for help.
Yeah.
They want to help you.
We've had. I don't know if you've spoken to some other of the members of your members, but we've had people saying patients were coming to them and saying, they were paying per visit or they were paying monthly and saying, do you mind if we prepay for the year because you're a small business and we want to support you? And patients were offering prepays
it's crazy.
because they value it. They don't want you to be in trouble. They know that you had to make some tough decisions. We've all had to make some tough decisions. Dan, the part that's refreshing is if you think about your energy and your outlook on it, which is opportunity, right? You're saying the world is still turned on. It's not an if, it's a when. So since it's a when, I might as well be prepared for it. How do I act as if? How do I stay ready for this thing? So you're looking at it as an opportunity to say, you know what? Things aren't as busy as they used to be. I have some more free time. So what can I tighten up that wasn't so tight? So I'm assuming, Brett and I talked about this, we talk every night, obviously, but we cleaned stuff in the office. We threw stuff out. We scoured the place. We're washing baseboards. We're doing everything to make the physical place as clean as possible. But when there's clutter there, then you clear clutter and now it creates a vacuum and creates that opportunity, from the opportunity of looking at every space, the physical space, the procedures, the systems, the marketing, the technology. What are some of the other ways that you guys have utilized some of the free time that you're not as busy to sort of work with the team to continue to look forward?
Right. Well, we only can make suggestions because, again, everything's a little different. We are still, in quotes, as busy because we're seeing patients in such a different way now. So,
right.
One or two at a time, they got to leave the office, the next one or two. So, we have not changed our hours. We are still seeing patients hourly, minutely, the whole thing. There's just not 15 or so patients in the office at the same time.
Right.
So we'll get back to that. But before I forget, with the opportunity, and this goes for all docs, raise your fees. As soon as this is done, you need to raise your fees. Number one, you're worth it. And number two, not many people are charging what it's worth anyway. You just need to be able to explain it right. But all your fees should be raised up $5, $6, $7 right away per visit in a package. Because patients they're not gonna be surprised. It just isn't. Now, if you're not ready for this, don't do it. But I will be raising my fees, and my fees are pretty high to start with. So.
But you're doing it after everything calms down. I'm
gonna do it when it calms down. Although I have done it with the last couple of people that have come in. So we've had new patients. It's been yeah. So the new patients that are coming in, I did raise it. Right, because they won't know. They don't know the difference, but go ahead.
Just because I want everyone watching and listening to be clear about your why. Why do you say to raise the fees?
When it's an opportunity in any way, it's the best time to do it. It's not when things are going good. It's different than what people think. You raise your fees because, one, your stop loss. Everyone's stop loss to their practice is different. Probably a different name that you guys use, but the money you need now is going to be different than what you needed a month or two ago. So to run the business, whether you're getting loans or not, let's just take that out. You need more money. right? Because we're seeing less people. So you're going to charge more money. It's just business.
And what's interesting, Brett, and you and I talked about this 2 nights ago, was that the first thing we saw in talking to members and talking to other chiropractors that are calling us who aren't even members of ours, saying, what do I do? They wanted to start giving, marketing to their family, to the patients, and say, we'll see your families for free, or we'll see your family for discounts. And we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So you can see that it's exactly the opposite of what you were saying, Dan. The knee-jerk reaction was to go the other way and just to keep it open. I'll take anything. And they always go to the lowest common denominator first.
Right. So my experience with what you're saying is that a lot of chiropractors have poverty consciousness, but mainly it's this lack of value perception in themselves, what they think the patient can afford, what they will pay, and so forth. So if they understand the perceived value and the exchange that's occurring, we should be raising our fees for what we're typically doing, right?
I mean, you can use every example in the world, but orthodontists don't even flinch for $7,500, $8,500 in period. They don't even flinch. So neither should we. So with that said, I don't want you guys getting phone calls. I raised my fees and no one's got. Just keep it all. But it is the time to raise your fees. There's no question about it. The other thing that we do, every office again is different, but since in Pennsylvania we can only see emergency care and we can only see urgent care, then so where does emergency and urgent care come from right now? Well, it comes from trauma. All right. So I've called all of the urgent cares in the area, who I already called before, and I've introduced myself again and again. I talk to the owner and let them know we are open. We're here to take pressure off of you. Or if you get someone that you don't want to send to the hospital that has back pain, neck pain. Look, I get, just so everyone knows, I understand that chiropractic is much more than back pain and neck pain and head pains. I get that. So for those that are listening that don't know me, but patients are going to come into your office for those things. So accept that. And then once they come in, then you can close them into what you think chiropractic is, or in fact, what chiropractic is. So I've called all the urgent cares. The other thing I've done is called all the lawyers. Now, not everyone does personal injury. So if you don't do personal injury, don't do it. Or maybe this is a good time to do personal. I think personal injury in Florida is pretty good. I know personal injury in Pennsylvania is pretty good. I've heard some other states that
not New York.
New York's terrible.
We're terrible across the board. It's all good.
So that wouldn't be one that you would do, right? So that, don't do it. The other one would be, what did I say? So, work comp is still something in Pennsylvania as well. So we can still do that. So we're calling, lawyers about that again. And just staying into, you're open. Great. I didn't realize you were open. Just forget about the emails. Everyone's getting bombarded with emails. It's time for phone calls. It's time to open up those relationships again. It's time to build rapport. I know last time I spoke to you guys, you have to build rapport with everybody. 100%. And it has to be done. Everyone is at a different level. Some lawyers, I'm not. If you call them like, oh my God, this is crazy, I'm not working, I can't even be, people are seeing each other. Not the time to ask for a referral. Just say, when things get better in your office, let me know. I would love to send you someone again, or whatever it is. So those have been the key things that we've been doing over the last couple of weeks.
We're in the interest of time, I just want to bring up a point that I think has become or becoming pretty major in our profession, and I'm getting calls and texts and all kinds of stuff about this. Is, you mentioned before that I know you're a wellness practitioner in general, and that's your whole gig, and you do all these other things too. What we're getting is a lot of state boards are cracking down on chiropractors who are making claims about come in to see us, we'll boost your immunity, we'll do all these different things. Okay, so one, we know that from an anecdotal point of view that is, I think, true. But number two is we're saying, well, where's the research? Where can we definitively say that? There are chiropractors, and I've seen it, that were brought up on charges that are saying, we boost your immune system. If you come into us and get adjusted regularly, you won't get COVID-19. I mean, they're literally making that claim. Some of them, those offices have been shut down. I've seen the reports. People are sending me stuff, which is simply not true, right? In terms of, you have to be careful on how you're saying this. So I want to mention this because I think a lot of chiropractors are looking for help on how to communicate that properly and effectively. Do you have any
Yeah,
thoughts about that?
I mean, I do agree, and it might step on some toes. And our profession's tough. There's no question about it. But
you can
if
hardly
you
notice.
right now are putting on your Facebook about the freaking Spanish flu,
Yes,
it's the wrong
that's the big one.
time.
Yeah.
The reason it's the wrong time is because people, the public is scared to death right now. Unfortunately, we did not win this one yet. I'm not giving up, but it's not the time. It's the time to get them to settle down and let them know that when they're hurting or when they're ready to come back, when wellness is turned back on, they can come back in. Or when they start hurting again, to come back in. But to talk about it with immunity right now, and especially if you haven't been talking about it before, you're actually going to look even worse
That's
to your,
the key right
your
there.
group.
Yep.
Right? Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. So if you weren't one to say it in the beginning, you say it now, it's going to just turn.
So let's say you did say it from the beginning, like most of us do. From the beginning, I'm talking about wellness immunity from day one all the way.
In my opinion, it's just the wrong time.
Right.
It's just the absolute wrong time to do that. It's the right time to educate them when they come in, but they're not going to come in for immunity right now. Even if it was true, I don't think they would come. It's just not the way that the perception is, their point of view is.
Right. Well, we also have to be careful by saying, one, we're not treating COVID-19.
No.
We're not treating anything. Right? But we know basic philosophy is as we adjust the spine neurologically, what we affect does help to reduce stress, which may in fact help boost your immune system. Different for each person. It's not a treatment for anything, but you want to do everything that you can to be as healthy as you can be. And here are several steps that you can take. But you can't definitively claim the research shows, because technically there really isn't any definitive research. There's anecdotal evidence, but we have to be careful in how we communicate that.
Yeah, Brett, I totally agree. And I agree even to the point that patients are going to follow you more if you just said if you're stressed out, it's going to release cortisol, and cortisol is going to increase your body. Yeah. So if you just said that, and so here are the ways to exercise, to think right, to write. So I read it was definitely from you guys. So I started reading. So instead of picking a new book, and I know you guys probably already did all this, I picked some old books that I thought would be a good time for me to settle. I had to settle too, guys. I mean, this, 2 weeks ago was about as crazy as I've seen it. So How to Think Like Leonardo da Vinci.
Great.
So I pulled that one out. I pulled out The Go-Giver, and I pulled out The War of Art, or the Art of, not the big one, the other one. So the ones that I know that, one I read about resistance, resilience, and then one, and it's just puzzles. I'm back to doing puzzles. Just stuff that's going to get it right. So patients will follow more how to settle their mind and listen to you more as the authority than telling them about immunity.
Right.
And it's not allowed.
And and that bridges us into, so I said we started with Dana about acceptance. We went into Larry about how to stay in action so you don't get paralyzed. Now we're talking about some specific action steps and things you can do to communicate with your people who are coming in and communicate with the people who are not coming in. And next week, Dan Sullivan's coming on because we want him to reiterate again the neurology piece to the stress of the nervous system. So now you have the science and the research that you need as your empirical data. If you want to share things with patients, it's just about neurology and the stress of the nervous system, sympathetic, parasympathetic, because that you can hang your hat on all day. Shameless plug. There you go. So Dan Sullivan will be on with us next week. Dan, you're obviously, you and your people are totally invited to join in. And we just want to try to help as many chiros as we can. When it comes to social media, are you finding that's a venue for you to be able to communicate with your patients, or you tend to do it more phone call and face-to-face?
There is nothing wrong with social media. You need to have as many fishing poles in the water as possible. Some areas, social media is going to rock and roll and be the only thing you need to do. In some areas, it's not. It's a very, in my area, very tough clientele or patient that's coming in on that. There are still people in my area that are still doing it. So, try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, you got to give it a couple of tests to see. I will turn that part back on once, quote unquote, the world gets turned back on. I will turn that back on and do it more towards some type of symptom, low back pain, neck pain, headaches.
Nice.
So, but as far as communicating how you feel, with through your website and doing videos, I mean, there's so much you can do right now to get control of your office. Make videos for the next 12 months so that release it each time. There's tons of things you can do. Just know your numbers, right? You guys must know how much it's costing you to have a patient come into the office, how much it costs you to have that patient get adjusted, and know how much more over that you need personally and how much you want to make. So you could charge $95 a visit, but if your overhead's $96, you are in trouble. So I would cut the Facebook at that point.
Yep. Right. So
I think social media is great. There are plenty of stocks that are still doing social media.
Right.
There's plenty of states that aren't even on a lockdown right now. So, that's a tough thing. I mean, there's some governors that just haven't said any. Listen, not a political thing. Just there's some. I could talk to someone. In the Carolinas. I don't even know if I think they're just roaming the streets at this point. So.
We're all moving.
Right. So again, you're looking at things of, I'm going to just keep doing what I do. I'm going to keep doing me. I'm not going to let it change me. I'm not going to let it change my energy. I'm going to still, Brett's whole famous thing of the hour of power. Are you waking up at the right time? Are you going to sleep at the right time? Are you doing your meditation? Are you setting your goals? Are you doing your affirmations? Are you having your team meetings? Are you having your team huddles? Are you cleaning things up? And like you just said, you just said it as a blip just came out of your mind. Do videos for the next 10 months, 12 months. What about creating your marketing calendar and how you're going to build back up or get back to the old patients that have, like you said, had to take a little break for a little while and get them back in. So you're already thinking future pace. You're not thinking about the negative. You're staying, positive focused. That's why you're so successful. That's exactly the message of why we wanted to speak to you tonight, because I'm sure there are chiros that are going to watch you be like, what is he, out of his mind? Like, I don't know what's happening tomorrow. Your ability to just stay the course is the key to the whole success piece.
Thank you. But if there's an opportunity here, everyone will see it. Just think about what it's going to be like once it's back. Did you act accordingly when it was all going on? And I'm not saying I'm not spooked or scared or anything like that, but it shouldn't stop you. Respect it like anything else.
Yep.
It is what it is, but keep going on. Whatever it takes to make it, you are to make it. Because people out there need us. Lots of people need us.
Right. That's no one said don't feel fear. Feel the fear, but do it anyway. Move forward anyway.
Right. I mean, it's yeah, right. All right.
Brett, what do you got, just in the interest of time, in terms of, just closing comments and closing thoughts, what you're hearing from not just our members, but from some of the chiros out in the profession?
You talking to me?
Yep.
Oh, I think for the most part, people are okay. I think people are applying for the stimulus packages and doing what they're supposed to be doing. My feeling is people, chiropractors and people in general, are still in fear about everything because there's no end date. So you don't know how long this is going to go. And people that are quarantined to their house are getting stir crazy. But the more videos that are going out, such as what we're doing here, more communication from the profession as a whole, I think chiropractors are starting to settle down. They're starting to develop somewhat of a routine. And they're starting to realize, well, I can only control this. And if I can't control this, but I can control this, let me focus on what I can control. So as we give these tidbits each week and giving more action steps to take, I think people feel more confident and more certain. And this too shall pass. And I think, in my own personal opinion, I think in the next 4, 6, 8 weeks tops, I think the things will get flattened out, will be on the down slope. And I really believe in my heart of hearts that things will start to turn around. I'm not saying it's going to go back to normal. That's going to be a process of time. But I think people are starting to see that there is an end in sight at some point. May not be that way, but they're starting to see it,
Yeah, that's a great point. We put up a June 1st countdown thing in the office. So whoever comes in first gets to cross off the date. So it's about 53 days. 53 days to June 1st, and it might be, it might be sooner, it might be later, but at least it gives something. And everyone keeps asking, well, how do you know? And I'm like, I know.
Future pace.
But I think people are starting to breathe again.
Enjoy the time. because I'm spending more time with my kids.
100%.
I'm getting more dinners at night.
Yeah.
We learned mahjong. Don't laugh. But my 13-year-old and 7-year-old learned mahjong, and I still haven't won yet. I'm good at this.
Yeah.
So take
I'm
it to
TikTok at home somehow.
there you go. So, but
He's right, and I think
you guys have gone over this. But read something, write something,
yeah.
do something different. Learn a language. Take a course online.
Yeah.
Get rid of all your CE credits.
Yeah.
Do your credits now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So again, people are starting to do and not put so much pressure on themselves. People are like, I'm a failure, I'm this, I'm that. No, you're not. This is not your fault. It's learning that there's always a silver lining, I believe, again, my thoughts. And in crisis and all these different things that happen, there's always an opportunity. And just look at it as a little prolonged vacation, stuff you've been putting off that you haven't done, and now you have the opportunity to do it. You know what? You'll feel better doing that because you'll feel like you got things accomplished. And I think that's what I'm starting to see more of. And the number one thing is, well, like you just mentioned that I'm hearing feedback, is people getting to spend more time with their family. Our dinners, I mean, they're all dishing on me, kind of ranking on me all the time. I love it. It's great. My daughters are older, and it's just we're laughing more. My kids are home from college, so we're having all this time together. So I think that's what I see as a summary from my point.
Well, and for younger kids, one last thing.
Yeah,
for younger kids, like anyone, teens and under, or even older, I'm teaching them about sales. I really enjoy it. Sales can also be written as communication.
Yep.
But the sooner they realize that the first thing they have to do to get a point across is agree, the more successful they're going to be. And that's for you too, all the docs. Yeah. You got to agree first. So you have to agree with the patient wherever they are, however they feel about what's going on. Yeah. So again, so you can get them to where they need to go.
Right. So I do want to say that we created on the Chiro Destiny website, we did create, there's a red banner at the top that has all sorts of resources. Some of the stuff, the videos we've done before, the stimulus package stuff, some of the CDC stuff, just so you don't have to watch the news all the time and wonder and, question and everything else. What we stand for, the three of us, and we've talked about this, was we stand for helping chiropractors. That's what we're here for. That's a calling for us. We have our own practices. And the thing we're passionate about is that helping chiropractors in any ways we can. So there is a banner on the top page of Chiro Destiny. Anything you need is going to be there, including you could always contact us at Chiro Destiny or, Dan at his office or through Everest about getting questions answered on just listen to the success-minded thinking, the possibility thinking, the future pacing, and you'll see who's going to be having the meteoric rise once this is over. And again, it will be over eventually. And those who are going to struggle the most. We want to make sure that we level you out and that we have you primed for the pump and ready to rock it when this thing starts to loosen back up. Next week, we are doing another call. It's every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. It's going to be Dr. Dan Sullivan doing some of the neurology, some of the science behind, some of the things that chiropractors need more certainty with and the ability to communicate some of these factors to their patients. Dan, listen, I mean, we've last month, March, was 25 years ago since we graduated. So you're still very, very handsome. I am not so much. You are, you're family to me, a dear friend. All we do is laugh about some of the times. And if any of you need a recipe for gazpacho, Dan makes a fantastic gazpacho. We were vegetarian for the years of chiropractic school. He bought some tomato juice, cut up a cucumber, and threw it in and called it gazpacho. So, you can see why he stays in such good shape. Certainly not because of his cooking. So we love you, bro. And, whatever we can do for your members at Everest. And we know that our members at Chiro Destiny love you and what you stand for. And if anybody needs help, just reach out. Nothing we wouldn't do to help a Chiro. You guys have a great night. Thanks again, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Buddy.
Peace.
All right, we're good.